You know, having studied engineering at the beginning of my career, it actually taught me so much about understanding the insights of what I'm doing, the insights of the machines, the insights of the systems, instead of just working on it, just switching it on and switching it off, switching it on and switching it off, but to really understand what drives all these things that are happening, what drives the machine. And if you understand that, if something goes wrong, then you can get to understand where to start in fixing it or advising those who are able to fix it. So that's something that's very important, and that's what I call first principles approach and first principles thinking. So it starts from that. And then I get to do a number of things. And now this kind of approach has led me into getting to understand why the brain does what it does. Why do we really behave the way we do? And coming back to leadership, I was very, very much fascinated by, so many things when you learn more about leadership, to say leaders are born and others say, no, they are made. And you never get to understand that. And being the engineer that I am and understanding the mathematics and all the things that go with that, I became so fascinated as to what is the truth here. Are really leaders born or are they made? Or is it a little bit of both? And this led me to really understand neuroscience and to get deeper into it. And also bringing in the elements of philosophy, bringing in the elements of psychology and all those things. And I get to realize that everything was hidden and is still hidden here in the brain. So the brain is all about driving what we tend to do. I mean, we have genes, we have environment, we have all the thoughts that get formed when we grow up. And we get to see how people lead. Now, when you look at leadership and you're looking at neuroscience, instead of just people talking about whatever they think is true, that yes, look at the Mandelas, look at the Gandhis, look at the Maya Angelos, and you look at people who are actually great and people who are great and who showed us through elements of leadership. And I wanted to understand exactly why is it that some people lead better than others. And the neuroscience is a study that was put together. It's a combination, it's a blend of different sort of like fields of studies, like psychology. And you talk about neurology and all those, they came together. And now using the latest technology, then you are able to see exactly when you conduct certain tasks, which part of the brain, which parts of the brain are activated. Because now there's no longer guesswork. It's about talking about something that is real, something that is happening as and when you perform that activity, like inside the fMRI scan. So when you look at leadership, now we're able to identify what is it that makes leaders great leaders, and what is it that makes poor leaders poor leaders. I'm saying not bad leaders, but poor leaders, because they can always be improve how they lead others, because it's something that mostly can be learned. In one of the episodes, I spoke about the combination of this leadership being something that is natured, or that is nature, and one of it is being, nurture. So we're talking about, are leaders really made, or are they born? So I spoke about this ratio where I said about a third of what makes leaders great is actually genetic. It means they're born with it. Whereas about 2/3 of it is made out of what they learn. It means it's developed. So there's no excuse to say, I'm just a bad leader. No. It means you need to learn what is it that makes people tick. You need to understand human nature. You need to understand what drives human behavior. Because if you understand that, then you'll be able to lead better. You'll be able to connect well with people. And this is what neuroscience is all about. It's helping us understand what drives human behavior. It helps us understand which brain regions and which neurotransmitters or brain chemicals are activated, behind all the emotions that we get to have. If you are feeling angry, you are feeling happy, you are feeling sad, and you are feeling, like joyful, then what chemicals, what brain chemicals are activated and are released by the brain that ensures that we feel the way that we feel? And that's something that's very important. It means it's no longer just about guesswork, once again, where we're saying, oh, I think this is what it is. But now we can tell based on science. We can base it on data, and we can base it on evidence that is in front of us. So right now, this is why, therefore, I'm so fascinated by this, because I help leaders and I help teams to understand how this brain really works and to understand the insides of this brain. We're talking about all the subcortical regions of the brain. We're talking about the cortex and how the brain evolved, because if you can understand that, you can understand what drives human behavior. You can understand why people behave the way they do. And you can be able to nudge them towards that direction that you want them to go. And you make them feel that they belong and that they're important. And they make them feel that, you know what, their status is taken care of. So when I talk about these workshops that I conduct and my talks that I talk about, and my coaching system as well, it's based on the neuroscience and how humans operate and how the human brain works, because the brain is the seat of everything that we do. So without understanding how the brain works, how then do we go about and influence people in a way that will actually help them and help the organization, at large, to produce the result that you want them to produce? So that's very important. And as a leader as well of people, you need to understand that there's something that is called emotional and self-confidence contagion, which means that our emotions are contagious. It's like when someone is yawning or someone is sneezing in front of you or something like that, it activates certain neurons in the brain that are called mirror neurons, and they tend to mirror that. And that's why you find that when someone is yawning in front of you, you end up also picking that one up and yawning as well. You end up maybe sneezing as well. And that explains the science. So I unpack that so that people can get to understand how can we mirror our behavior so that people can sort of like pick them up and do the same thing. So we're saying emotional contagion. It means emotions are contagious. Same as self-confidence. When you're being led by a confident leader, what gets to happen? What tends to happen is that also you mirror that. You end up picking up more confidence. There are many studies that have been conducted on that one, where teams were broken down into small groups, and then they chose a leader, and then the leader showed a lack of self-confidence, and other leaders showed, a high level of self-confidence. And at the end, when those studies were completed, it was actually shown that with some significant confidence, that those leaders who had high level of self-confidence, they rubbed it off their, team members, and they became more confident, and they produced more results. So that's something that's very important that I get to share with audiences and to share with teams and leaders, because how do you become a leader of people if you don't understand what makes them tick? So it's all about human nature. We are no longer leading bodies, as it was thought before, that you are leading people, you are leading brains. So as the leader of brains, how much knowledge do you have about the brain? How do you work together with other people if you don't understand how your own brain works? So let's think about it. And remember, I want to be that person that will help you and your team transform from a place of mental darkness to mental light. Because in mental light, that's where peak performance is at.